Noah Brown stood before his bathroom mirror, carefully applying theatrical makeup to weather his complexion. The expensive watch that usually adorned his wrist lay on the counter, along with his tailored suit jacket and silk tie. Instead, he wore a threadbare hoodie and scuffed sneakers he'd retrieved from his garage, deliberately aged with dirt and wear. The irony wasn't lost on him. As CEO of Brown Enterprises, he typically spent his mornings ensuring he looked impeccable. Now, he was doing the opposite, transforming himself into someone society would barely notice. The quarterly report scattered across his desk had shown a troubling pattern: declining productivity, higher than usual turnover, and an inexplicable shortage of ground-level workers. Something was wrong in his company, and conventional methods hadn't revealed the source. Noah's path to success hadn't been easy. His father, Simon Brown, had worked 12-hour shifts as an engineer at a light industry plant, taking on extra jobs to provide for his son after Noah's mother passed away when Noah was 5. Every childhood memory Noah held featured his father's tired but determined face, teaching him the value of hard work and perseverance. Simon hadn't lived to see his son's success, passing away during Noah's final year of university, but his lessons had formed the foundation of Noah's business philosophy. The company Noah built reflected these values, or at least it was supposed to. He'd always prided himself on being an understanding boss, rarely losing his temper and showing patience with his employees. Yet something had shifted, and he couldn't pin down what. "People aren't willing to work hard anymore, sir," his deputy Ethan Douglas had explained when Noah questioned the staff shortage. "They're demanding unreasonable wages." "Then raise their wages," Noah had responded, frowning. "Why are they suddenly choosing our competitors over us?" Ethan's explanation felt hollow, filled with complaints about market conditions and entitled workers. After 15 years in business, Noah had developed a keen sense for when he wasn't getting the full story. As he studied his now unrecognizable reflection, he hoped his unconventional plan would reveal the truth. He'd told Ethan he was leaving for a week-long business trip, a deception that left a bitter taste in his mouth. But desperate times called for desperate measures. Tomorrow, he would return to his own company as a job seeker, and perhaps finally understand what was really happening within its walls. The next morning, Noah pulled his baseball cap low over his face as he approached the HR department. Sarah Jenkins, the HR manager, barely glanced up from her computer as he entered. Her lip curled slightly at his appearance. I saw the ad for warehouse loaders," Noah mumbled, disguising his voice. "I'd like to apply." Sarah's eyebrow arched so high, it nearly disappeared into her hairline. "A loader? Have you looked in a mirror lately? This is a respectable company. We have standards." Her dismissal dripped with contempt. "Perhaps try the recycling center. They're always looking for bottle collectors." The interaction left Noah shaken. He'd expected some resistance, but not this level of naked disdain. More troubling was the fact that they desperately needed loaders. He'd seen the staffing reports himself. Outside the building, Noah spotted Marcus, one of the warehouse workers he recognized from the company photos. The man's uniform was worn, his face etched with exhaustion. "Hey," Noah called out softly. "Got a minute? I'm thinking about applying here. Worth it?" Marcus glanced around nervously before approaching. "Look, man, save yourself the trouble. On paper, we're supposed to have 4 loaders. Reality, there's 2 of us doing the work of 4. People quit faster than we can replace them, if they even try to replace them. The management doesn't notice?" Marcus's bitter laugh spoke volumes. "Notice? They're the ones orchestrating it. Well, not the big boss. Noah Brown seems decent enough the few times anyone's seen him. It's his deputy, Ethan. But keep that quiet, yeah? I've got kids to feed." Over the next few days, Noah's investigation revealed a pattern more disturbing than he'd imagined. Ethan had systematically undermined the company's operations, deliberately understaffing departments while pocketing the difference in labor costs. The resulting poor performance was being used to argue for a change in leadership, specifically to position Ethan as a replacement for Noah. The revelation struck Noah like a physical blow. He'd trusted Ethan, promoted him from a mid-level manager to deputy CEO. What could have inspired such betrayal? The answer came during the confrontation Noah staged in his own office. He waited until Ethan had gathered the department heads for their weekly meeting, then walked in still wearing his disguise. "Security!" Ethan shouted, rising from Noah's chair. How did this vagrant get in here? Vagrant? Noah pulled off his wig, wiping away the makeup. Is that how you see the working class, Ethan? People beneath your notice? The color drained from Ethan's face as the other executives gasped. After dismissing everyone else, Noah faced his deputy. Why? The single word carried the weight of years of trust betrayed. Ethan's composure cracked. Why? You want to know why? Because 15 years ago, your father fired mine from that factory he managed. One mistake, a few missed days when my mother was sick, and Simon Brown destroyed our family. Dad never recovered, drank himself to death while I worked as a janitor to help Mom keep our house. The pieces clicked into place. Noah remembered his father mentioning a difficult termination, but he'd never connected it to Ethan's family. So, this was revenge? Destroying the livelihoods of innocent workers to get back at my father? I wanted you to know what it felt like to lose everything, Ethan spat, to watch something you built crumble while feeling powerless to stop it. Noah studied the man before him, someone he'd considered a friend, now revealed as an enemy wearing a mask of loyalty. The difference, Ethan, is that my father fired one man for cause. You've hurt dozens of families with your schemes, people who had nothing to do with your grudge. The terminations that followed were swift but fair. Ethan and his conspirators received severance packages, more generous than they deserved, perhaps. But Noah wouldn't let bitterness drive his decisions the way it had driven Ethan's. The company's transformation was equally dramatic. Noah instituted weekly roundtable discussions with employees at all levels, created anonymous reporting channels for workplace concerns, and personally oversaw a complete overhaul of the HR department. Wages increased, particularly for ground-level workers, and the warehouse staff doubled. 6 months later, Noah stood in the break room, sharing coffee with the warehouse team. Marcus, now the warehouse supervisor, was describing a new inventory system he'd developed. "The thing is, Mr. Brown," Marcus said, "people will work hard if they're treated with respect. That's all anyone really wants." Noah nodded, thinking of his father. Simon Brown had been strict but fair, demanding but compassionate. Those were the values Noah had always tried to embody, and the values that would guide his company forward. The experience had taught him that success wasn't just about profits and performance metrics. It was about creating a community where everyone, from the CEO to the newest loader, felt valued and heard. The disguise had shown him his company's flaws, but more importantly, it had shown him how to fix them.